not an easy thing to lead an actor's life when you're doing roles, and you really and becoming immersive with each and every role that you do, and you do them with all your grain, of your body. You are bruised by that role, by that character.
Hi, I'm Shoma Chaudhury. Thanks for watching Inquiry. And if you like these conversations, do press the like icon and the subscribe button on the channel. Now, today I have an absolutely wonderful guest, actor Manoj Bajpayee, who's been earning rave reviews for his serial Family Man, in which he plays the character of a national security officer struggling to balance his work and family. Manoj's own life is no less heroic. The son of a farmer, he could have given up on his dream of being a star actor on day one. Instead, he persisted against daunting odds. So, what is the psyche he brought to dreaming and winning? What did he do to become a consummate actor? What does it take to be both a hero and a family man in real life? And are there mental practices for success which all of us can follow, regardless of which field we're in? I'll be speaking to Manoj about all of that and much more today. Thank you very much for joining me on the show.
Thank you, Shoma.
So, Manoj, I'm not going to go into Family Man. You play a hero's role there. You've got a lot of praise for that. But, as I said, we're talking a little bit late into the serial second season. So I don't want to go into that, but I want to look at your personal heroism, the hero story behind your public persona. So, in your own mind, what do you think is the most heroic thing that you have done in your life, in your own reckoning?
I think the most heroic thing was leaving my village at the age of 18. And that too, in a time when, the even reaching Patna was a distant dream for all the fellow villagers. Nobody could even think of uh, leaving everything behind, and leaving the village thinking that that boy is not going to go back ever.
So, what made you have this dream, Manoj? I was seeing somewhere that you lived in a village which was like 15 kilometers away, even from a road, really remote. You come from a family that was in farming. So, where did that dream even come from?
My village was actually those days. I'm not talking about today. I mean, now, road and infrastructure uh, is quite easy. 6 hours and 7 hours by road, you reach Patna. We reach Patna, or from airport you reach my village. It's far more easier, which I never thought would be. What made, I don't know. I think it was a destiny. All I remember in me going on stage reciting a poem when I was in fourth or fifth standard. Um, and from that time, the applause that I received for my recitation, I think that was our biggest uh, instigation or stimulus at that age. Um, After that, it continued, the stage performances, the poetry reading, and uh, reading out the stories aloud, participating in all the school events. All of those things I used to look forward to, and it started, getting stronger and stronger as the day passed. Also, somewhere I realized that if I have to become an actor, I can't talk about it loudly. In a family or a society which enjoyed watching films, who celebrated Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and Mr. Rajesh Khanna, but somewhere they looked down upon anyone who could even dare to think about see that dream. So I kept it all hidden into my heart and my mind. I never kind of shared it with anyone. Also, somewhere I realized that in a family of mother and father and six brothers and sisters, I was the second one. I was a boy, so I was supposed to take the reign or control uh, after my father. And I was and somewhere in my mind, I was refusing to do all of that and be ready to chase my dream. It was a hard decision, and how I was able to think all of that, how I, thought of shrug off all that responsibility and left everything behind is something. Sometimes it baffles me completely, because that the society uh, I come from, uh, the elder son could, mostly they sacrifice uh, their dream and their passion, and rather they get busy with the family work.
Yeah. It's ironic your serial is called The Family Man, because because in so many ways there's a parallel about your secret heroism was really to become an actor. In the
Right,
serial, you're protecting the country. You're
right,
protecting your dream at the cost at that time it would have seemed at the cost of your family.
right.
So Manoj, I was, whenever one looks at an actor's success, it's so easy now to celebrate that success, and everyone will talk easily about focus and sacrifice. But I really wanted to delve into the texture and details of that, because it's so hard, and I'm sure lot of other people will draw strength from those stories. So I was seeing that when I asked you about what is your personal heroism, you had a very small mention of it somewhere else, where you said that maybe people don't give you the kind of recognition they should for the fact that you have created space for actors like yourself, that roles like this can even be done or thought of. So can you tell us why you feel that, and what makes you feel that? What is that big decision you made in your life which is impacting other generations or other actors?
I, Shobha, I know it's pure audacity. Uh, I would say of that age, after uh, a huge or a dream success or recognition that I got after Satya, which was not only a remarkable landmark film for this country, but it kind of also changed my life and my career. And that success of Bhikkhu Mahatre and Satya, it has given me a lot of strength to take my own decision. I could go either ways, or I could go, just do what was being offered at that point of time, where all they could think of uh, were the villain roles, and just pitted against all the good looking heroes and get thrashed in the end and take your money and go home. It was it was a done thing, and that's what I was supposed to do, for them. uh, I took a path uh, which was going to offend a lot of people, and it did. uh, I made many enemies here in this industry. There were too many blind items were being written, because the lobby was, there were too many powerful lobbies, and if you're saying no to them, to what they are offering, uh, so it always amounted to offending them. It always amounted to you being a bloated head, you being an arrogant fella. So all of that was happening, and I decided to kind of ignore, shrug off, and do my own thing. Sometime I had to wait for a year for a good role, for a good script. Sometime 1.5 year, uh, and that too after such a huge uh, recognition after Satya. So my all my films in the initial years, if you see it, they happened with Mr. Ram Gopal Verma only. And he was somebody uh, who was giving me corn, who gave me shul, who gave, so. And then uh, uh, a lot of planning, a lot of strategy that I used to do. If there was a good role in a commercial format, I used to, I used to weigh and measure, and should I do it or should not? I shouldn't do it. And then I started talking loudly that I want to do lead role. I knew that people are going to make fun of me, and they did. But they thought that I want to do a lead role like any good looking hero. But it was also a way of me telling the industry, don't offer me anything, uh, uh, anything secondary, anything villain. Uh, I was just preparing them mentally that he's not going to do anything less than a
Right.
lead role. So, by doing that, I was actually letting all the riffraff staying away from me. Instead of me saying no to them and offending them face to face, I was keeping them at bay all the time. So this was all a strategy. Um, at times, you have to make your kitchen run. So I decided to be part of one or two multi-star, uh, just to, and also it was also a part of a strategy that I'm being pitted against big ones, then people are going to look at me in that position. So it, at the end of the day, no matter how lucky you are or not so lucky you are, it's also a strategy. It's a very thoughtful strategy without any uh, uh, without any kind of vulnerability. You do that, and I did things, many times I did it very smartly. Sometimes I was quite foolish. Sometimes I got carried.
I wanted to reinforce, for our audiences, like what we were talking about heroism, if I'm using that as a strand, that at that point you were not financially well off. And like you said, that to take those decisions, to turn down, 35,000, 50,000, whatever was coming your way at a time when you didn't have money, requires a lot of self belief, because you could have just added volume to your work and money rather than waiting for something that would suit your own image of yourself.
I was always without any flamboyance, I'm saying this. Uh, since I have worked so hard, during my theater days, on my craft, on my language, on every aspect of acting and theater, that has really instilled a lot of self belief and faith in me. Uh, there was no lack of conviction in me about the work I could do. Uh, I knew that I could pull off anything and everything if it was good. That was always there. That is something that uh, I never thought, or still I don't think that I lack. It's it's purely based on the work I do. It's purely based on my daily routine and the time that I give on my craft, the, the thought that I give uh, uh, to acting, in preparing. So it comes from there. It doesn't come from thin air at all. Uh, so all the heroism, no matter how heroic you are here, your body and your it should come from your preparation. If I can think of jumping off from ninth floor or 20th floor, but am I skilled enough to take a jump and save myself? So that preparation is something, uh, it was always there, and that has given me a lot of strength when I was carving my own things, and or I was going on a unbeaten track. It 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 had it had a lot of audacity, and that came from conviction, and that came from what I was doing every day on myself.
So, in fact, that's a really interesting insight, Manoj, because again, one associates with acting a kind of not just self belief, like you said, in the work, but also a self love. And it's interesting that you've sort of said again in passing elsewhere that you still don't look into the mirror, you don't think of yourself as conventionally good looking, you don't like your face. So, where, like, it's amazing that conviction came from your preparation, but has your self love grown, has your self confidence grown? And in those years, did you have dark moments? Like, where did the self belief come from if you didn't even love yourself, and your looks?
The self belief and self love are completely two different things.
Of
Okay.
course, yeah.
um, um, of course I love my actor, but when I look into the mirror, since I'm an actor, I keep looking at all my parts with my actor's eye. Okay. So this is my instrument. and I have to keep tuning in every time, uh, internally and externally. So for internal self, you have to work on your craft. You have to do a lot many, you have to get into spiritual practices, work on your thought process and brain activity, all of that. But externally, if I'm not being too critical about myself, how am I going to really work really hard on it? And this is exactly what I do. As far as good looking, this was instilled in me and put inside me by a society or my peer group, which belonged to a society which, which which very naturally is very racist. Okay. So if and I I was given this thought that I know I don't look like an actor, the conventional actor, conventional hero, and actually started believing in it. So somewhere I was impacted by what they were saying about my color, about the way I looked, but that has also given me a lot of you know energy and motivation to work on myself. And every day, just working on myself externally and internally to compensate all of criticism which came my way. And it worked in my favor. So, and this is what exactly I have done in my low phases too. When the reviewers are writing all sorts of things, they were getting personal about me. I kept on cutting those reviews and keeping it with me, and working on those aspects that they were pointing out, and never took it to heart. Yes, it throws you off when you read it for the first time, but when the second time you read it, you start looking at it very, very objectively, instead, and then you think that I'm not going to uh, look at their line that they are drawing. I'm going to make a bigger line here, as Vivekanand says, and that drawing a bigger line can only come from your own routine, your own zeal to work on yourself. And this is how everything got compensated, in this industry, or in this world, in any sphere of life. uh, Long back, I have realized that if you really want to answer, uh, you can only answer through your work. These are the things that I'm talking right now. I'm feeling very uncomfortable because it actually sounds like a gyan, but it's something that I practice every day.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell all my students when I'm conducting a workshop. But when I look at their blank faces, and sometimes I get discouraged. Sometimes I feel that they have come to my workshop for some magic word or a pill that I'm not able to give it to them. It's not an easy thing to lead an actor's life. You are When you're doing roles, and you really and becoming immersive with each and every role that you do, and you do them with all your grain, of your body. You are bruised by that role, by that character. And outside, when you are moving outside, you are bruised by all the politics and criticism, the lobby. You're trying to find your way. You are maneuvering, so the only thing which can save you is being, work on yourself intelligently, without getting affected by what people have to say about you.
You're talking of very deep processes, Manoj, and I really feel that it will make a lot of difference to people who listen. It's just reminding me of a scene in Family Man where at the end, when you get a medal, even that is hidden, and the hero's medal is given to you and then said, "Acha, at the end of life, you'll get it and it'll be acknowledged when you retire." So I think your real life is following a bit of that, because if it's of any use, I think you're conventionally good looking, but also what's interesting is that your passion and your sticking to your idea of yourself and your art has changed the idea of what good looking on screen is, so the big meaty roles now are going to people where conventional looks don't matter so much. I think audience taste is being changed. And of course, the OTT platforms have played a big role in that. but
Right.
the entire possibility of art in our country is changing, so you'll get your medal at the end of your life.
No, no, I'm fine with it. It's but if you look, if you believe me, everyone is getting a medal, for their hard work, or for the journey. Only in the end, you you can't be thinking that everything that you do today will get a medal. It's an ongoing journey, and if you're on a journey which is continuing, uh, you can't be expecting medals on every step. All the big medal, you'll only receive it in the end. Sometime you are here in this world, sometime you are not.
Yeah.
But, so,
So
but the
many
medal,
great artists
yeah,
have been acknowledged only after they've died, actually.
yes,
Yeah.
they do. That's the hard fact.
So, Manoj, I'm going to bring you back to your personal journey a little bit later, but you mentioned a couple of things which I want to speak about. You just said that to be an actor, you also actually need to walk a spiritual path, to have spiritual depth. And I saw that you've also spoken very, very fleetingly about having a spiritual guru. Can you talk to me about that? Who is the spiritual guru? What is the spiritual practice you've developed for yourself?
Okay, so I'm not going to get into my guru's life because we are not supposed to. But yes, we as a family, we follow a certain routine. We follow uh, the all the yogic routine and meditation, and that is the biggest gift this life has given to me. More than being more than becoming an actor, more than becoming getting a name, fame. I think this is what is the biggest gift that we have received in this lifetime. And I sometimes I feel bad that there was nobody to guide me when I was in my 20s, but that's also my destiny. But at this point, and that has when it started, you know um, making me feel that blissful. I started doing it with all the intensity, and more you seek, the more intensity you put in your spiritual practices, more developed or evolved you feel as a human being. And your human being is not away from your actor. Okay, so it's the human being who's an actor is feeding on the feeding off the human being. And if if today, when I work today, when I interact or communicate, I'm far better today. I'm far better in my understanding of another human being, and I'm far better in understanding the characters that I'm playing. So yes, it has a overall uh, impact on your whole being, and actor is just part of it.
So I totally respect you not speaking about your guru, but recently when I've been chatting with people, maybe because of the pandemic, maybe because of uncertainty, a lot of people are seeking spiritual understanding. So if you were to encapsulate even what have you been seeking, or what sort of insight have you got, or what is the state of being you try to arrive at? Can you encapsulate that? Like, what is the
Um,
journey you're on?
I feel very small, but when I'm going to answer this, I really feel that I have yet to find too many answers. Or as I said, not taking seriously, not taking yourself seriously is the key. Uh, this is where everything is hidden, and that comes from and the idea of ongoing journey. Sometimes we feel that all purpose is material purpose, becoming famous, becoming getting good work, getting money, which is very good, fantastic. I mean, we are in,
Yeah, you need that for.
we are in this world, and we have to live. At the same time, there is a greater purpose, because this body you'll be leaving uh, after a point. I mean, look behind. Everyone left their body, and the soul, went on a journey. And this is this is what I believe. Always, actually, I always believed in it. My seeking was very intense from my childhood, since the time I have seen the first death in my family, and the realization that my parents are not going to be here forever. It broke my heart completely, and when it broke my heart, the spiritual seeking started from the age of 10. Okay, when the first time you come face to face with death, it breaks your heart only because you know that you are not somebody who's immortal. Yeah, it really hits your ego completely. So so it so uh, so the egoless uh, life is when it becomes completely egoless, that is the time your real journey begins. I'm in the process. I hope I arrive at that uh, very soon, or in this lifetime.
We are chatting. We've of course met and spoken, but this is the first time that we're really chatting in depth. And I feel like there's a big difference between your description of yourself earlier as an angry, restless man,
Yeah.
and there's a kind of calm, internal calm from which you're speaking right now. So, is that also coming with success, or is that coming out of your spiritual practice?
No, it has nothing to do with success. Anger is still there. Anger, Shoma, is still there. It's just that anger found its shape. Okay, it has been shaped up very beautifully by the practice, spiritual practices that I do every day without fail. Uh, the zeal and the passion with which I work, uh, without getting tired and exhausted, it sometimes baffles me now. We are all we are not getting. I'm younger. We are only getting older. So by that rule, I should feel tired by the middle of the day. I don't feel tired now. It's because there's somewhere that the spiritual practice is giving a lot more internal energy and focus with which I work today. But at the same time, my anger is not disturbing the set. My too much what you call bad energy is not disturbing the set, but the anger has taken shape of a good energy. Okay, that good energy is something that people are liking. People want to collaborate with you on the set. They love your presence. They want to sit next to you. They want to talk to you. Earlier, when I used to sit in one corner, I was only giving the idea to the people that I'm an arrogant guy, I'm an angry guy. We should not go close to him. He gets disturbed. Then, so all of these things are shaped up so beautifully by the spiritual practices or yogic exercises or meditation. So it converts the restless energy into a very focused energy, which I'm enjoying it quite a lot.
So that brings me to your craft, Manoj. Will you talk about, just as an actor, you said it's immersive, and I'm going to take you back to your NSD days and your whole personal struggle. But just now, just about your craft, say for a role like Family Man or a role like Gulia, where you said that you actually developed an entire network of thoughts for you
Yeah.
to, for your eyes to express something. Tell me a little bit about your, how you prepare for a role.
Gully Gulia was a very dangerously immersive preparation. Before this, there was Shul, and in between, I didn't venture into that area because somewhere it was not doing any good to me mentally and emotionally. With Gully Gully, I realized that if I don't take that path, I will not be able to do it. And for that, the a month long preparation at home, where my wife started feeling that I'm really getting into a dangerous zone, which she warned me about, because she found me mumbling to myself and talking to myself very loudly at times. My eyes completely getting restless, and she was getting scared with this preparation. And and but it in the end, when I was on the set in Purani Delhi, uh, I used to be on the set all the time, even if it was lunch, even if it was uh, it was taking time for the cameraman to light up the shot. I used to stay there. There was few of the photographs that director has shared with me. Those behind the scene photographs completely shocked me. Those photographs actually told all of us as to how deeply I was into the role. I still remember on the 28th day, it was my 32 days shoot in Delhi, my post. On the 28th day, I started hearing whistle in my ear. That kind of scared the hell out of me. That was the time I was woken up from my immersiveness.
Give me an example, like just take any one scene which is not part, so the external script is something, but beneath that you have created an entire world for yourself. You're thinking some thoughts. Is there a quick, short scene that you can explain like that?
So there are many actually. I mean, I would really request people to watch that film. This film is still not OTT, which is very sad. Uh, there's a very small sequence where I'm lying down and looking at the ceiling. Uh, and when I saw the film, because I don't look at the monitor, because there's a theory behind, there's an idea behind of me not looking at the monitor, and everybody feels very surprised because each and every actor, they love going to the monitor and watching their shot. I don't do it at all, never done. And
What is your
uh,
theory?
ah that Shekhar Kapoor has told me in my first film that you just do your job, cameraman will capture it. If you start looking at yourself, you'll only get into uh, doing things for camera, and you will forget about the character. Your character will, the process will get hampered, and that somewhere convinced me.
Right.
So I just try to be without and try to forget that I'm being captured.
Yeah, you're
I
not
think,
projecting anything. You are
yeah.
that
So
character.
you
Yeah.
you are that person. So somewhere
But
that
coming
gets.
back to your scene,
Huh?
coming back to the scene you were going to describe, where
Yeah.
you,
So there was a scene where I'm looking at the ceiling, and that's a very small shot. And if you see that scene, when I saw it, my eyes are moving constantly. Yeah. So when my eyes are moving, it is actually to give you an idea. This man's mind is actually racing all the time. He has too many crisscross thoughts happening, uh, and that that is the amount of preparation that I have done for that film.
and family man, to really get to the heart of the character, would you be able to describe who he is for you?
Uh, Family Man 1 is completely different from Family Man 2. Family Man 1 was, a kind of a middle ground, middle road in terms of craft of the director or the writers. The second part, he's completely shaken up. He's shaken up because family world is completely it's like a sand that he's trying to hold, and but is slipping away. So it's that kind of a intense Shrikant Tiwari. I try to make him a complete loser in the end, somebody who is into a wrong place without his choice. And most of this world is that they are not losers. I'm not saying they are losers, but they very few of us are blessed to be doing
What
to
we
be really
want?
doing what we want to do. And in the first season, he is doing what he wants to do, and he's trying to find a balance. He's struggling to find a balance between these two worlds. One, he loves his family. That's why he's struggling so hard to create a balance. But in the second season, his family is completely on the verge of collapsing, and his job is not with him. He's so he's somebody. He's an unhappy guy. He's a very unhappy guy. He's Shrikant Tiwari is never into his element
And he
in second
doesn't
season.
have complete conviction. I liked that because the
Yeah,
whole world of the security agencies is a
right.
complex world that You also wonder
I,
about the morality of what you're doing, you know?
right. And when he is dealing with this new challenge, and the challenge is he's not fighting with the enemy from outside. He's fighting with his own people. Uh, so the challenge is far bigger in this one, where he is losing. Even the last expression of mine after shooting the aircraft, you'll never see him rejoicing, because for him it's not a matter of rejoice. It's a matter of complete grief, that he's done something which is not very happy about, but he had to do it.
So, to coming back to, you know, this moment in 1998, you started with a mega success of Satya, and now you're celebrated again as a major talent. Of course, you've had a whole body of work in between, but I want to take you back a little bit earlier to your journey. You know, when you set off on that train and you arrived at Delhi, it was still a blank canvas for you, you know. And I heard that, you know, a lot of actors say they went through that moment of feeling suicidal or of, but you had that very early in your life when you weren't getting admission into NSD. So can you talk a little bit about that phase of your life? What was
I know.
giving you
You
strength and
see,
what was making you despair?
and my when at the age of 20, 21, you were getting rejected for and it was brutal for me, because I didn't have a plan B. I have done everything possible before going for the entrance. For 3 years, I've done only theater and nothing else. When I was in DU, I was not studying. I was just studying in the last 1 month, uh, and trying to manage, second division. Um, but uh, but when you get rejected, you don't have, you really don't know where to go. All dreams coming, getting falling down, shattered. So I really didn't know how to handle that. Uh, it was a big dream. There were too many reasons for it. A, I always wanted to be inside that campus. B, uh, I all I thought that, if I'm inside the campus, I'll be getting around 3,000 rupees or 3,500 rupees every month. My stay in Delhi, my food, everything will be taken care of, and my father will not have that much of a trouble. Uh, though he was sending me money, but that money was not sufficient enough for me to survive in the city. So I was mostly depending on my friends all the time, even for the clothes. I used to depend on them. Uh, so for many reasons, getting into NSD was very important for me. But that didn't happen, and I kept on trying, and I kept on doing intense theater outside. But the as I said, that has taught me a big lesson, that no matter how many times you get rejected, you have to keep trying. You have to keep working on yourself. That process cannot stop. It should not stop.
So, Manoj, for so many people who are at crossroads, you know, I can imagine, of course, everyone's journey is different, but I'm just trying to find some insight for your own life and your own decision making. That when things are so stacked up against you, you know, at which point is it intelligent and agile to change your dream? And when is it that you have to just stick with it? When you're getting failure after failure, rejection after rejection, how did you decide that this decision about whether you should change track or stick with that, how do you, was there anyone, like, how do you arrive at
Okay, no matter how many words I elaborate, uh, but it's always going to be difficult for the person who is going through it. Every day you get up thinking that it's not going to happen, but you still, dragging yourself, taking yourself to the work, to taking yourself to do something productive with yourself. Uh, and this is exactly what happened with me when things were going really tough. I was doing intense theater outside. I didn't have money to eat. I knew that even taking a DTC bus from my place to reach Mandi House, sometime I didn't have money, so I used to walk to Mandi House. And while walking, I'm thinking about my character. I'm thinking about my role that I'm going to rehearse today, and sometimes you're thinking random things. Sometimes I start, I'm talking to myself in English just to make myself fluent. So I'm saying anything and everything, but the language is English. So the practicing English speaking, practicing my dialogue. So just enjoying the walk, just enjoying the walk from around 7 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 8 kilometers walk, sometimes 15 kilometers. It always depended on
Which
the
friend's house you were?
which place that you are coming from to Mandi House. So yeah, but I don't know. It's it's always about taking on life. It's always about that. I always used to. Sometimes I used to tell myself that you think you can beat me. You think you can beat me. You can't beat me. So sometimes I used to get into these kind of childish conversation with myself. So when you're working very hard on yourself, on your craft, then that takes care of it. That takes care of many of the rejections, many of the things that you do. There were 2 3 plays that I have done in Delhi. Many times the big audience used to be from National School of Drama. That was my success, because National School of Drama people are admiring you. If they want to know your process, they want to know your craft. That means there is something very right, that you've done with yourself.
Again, for the audience that doesn't know, I just want to put out a couple of things about you. That finally you did get accepted into National School of Drama, but as a teacher and not as a student. And also that during this phase, correct me if I'm wrong, that you apparently did like more than 600 or 700 street plays, and you were part of a group where out of 365 days, you were at that group doing theater 364 days of the year.
64 days a year. And that one day I missed it because of the excessive rain that day. That I couldn't reach the rehearsal place or the workshop place. But that's what I wanted to do. I was very passionate about my craft. I wanted to learn anything and everything about theater and acting. I used to look for teachers. Barry happened to me. Barry accepted me just by looking at my work and my passion in his workshop. Robin Das, another great teacher, he was teaching at National School of Drama, but he chose to do plays with me outside. Similarly, there was Devendra Raj Ankur Sahab, who was teaching at National School of Drama. He was a great director. He chose to do plays with me outside. So these were little small victories that I was feeling. At the same time, I was sharing my teachers and directors with National School of Drama outside. So the creating the NSD atmosphere outside was difficult, very difficult, because I had to manage my rent uh, and food, look for food, and DTC bus fare, all of that. I was not getting any scholarship for this. I had to actually borrow steel from somewhere. But I have done that for 10 years, Shoma. So, but the focus was always on learning. The learning is something that gives you conviction. Learning is something that gives you that strength to fight it out. If not, I don't think anything else can really prepare you for any eventuality in life or as an actor.
That's beautifully put, Manoj. I want to quickly go through some of the people that have really mattered to you. And in that, I wanted to come back to your family, start with your parents. Apparently, you grew up next to a river. I loved that because I absolutely adore rivers and nature.
Yeah.
And, I grew up in the plantations as well. So apparently you grew up next to a river called the Hadbadiya River. Is that?
Hadboda.
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 Yeah. and it was a rushing river. But so tell me about your parents. What framework did they give you? Is your entire life something which is a departure from who they are, or have they been part of your journey?
No, they have always been part of my journey. Sometime when I used to go back to my village after 2 years or 2.5 years, uh, my mother sometimes used to get into telling me. Also, my father used to tell me sometime that while eating her food, sometimes she used to just leave eating and get away, uh, with the thought that Manoj must not have eaten in Delhi. So she used to go hungry, you know because she used to feel disturbed and selfish eating her food. So that's the kind of relationship. Though my mother is somebody who was a hard taskmaster. She was uh, all my temper, all my aggression came from my mother. My father has always been a very gentle soul, uh, but both of them had one thing very common, that they never thought of giving up. Never. They were not quitters ever, in any kind of a situation, any kind of circumstances. And this is what I think I inherited from them. My father had a tough time, to give supporting our education, but he sent us in a nearby boarding in a Catholic school in district town. Um, and he was very ambitious about our education. He wanted all of us to be a graduate. So he used to beg, borrow, steal, and always be in debt. I have seen him going through a really, really tough time. But our food was always there on table. They both, my parents, they made sure of that. When my father separated from his, joint family, he was left. He was not left with much of the land. So educating all the children was a tough task for him. Uh, Farmers don't have money. If my father had 10-acre or 12-acre land, uh, he still didn't have money to send it to the hostel. So all he could, my pocket money used to be 5 rupees a month. So on Sundays we used to get permission to go out and roam around in the market and come back at the scheduled time. So we used to take out 1 rupee, okay, because that 5 rupee had to last for a month.
Or weekends there.
So on weekends, I used to take out 1 rupee, and in 1 rupee used to get bhel and some pakodis or samosas, and used to eat, roam around the market, and come back. It was a good Hindi medium Catholic school, and we are so proud of coming from. And we have a very strong alumni group even today, and that shaped me up completely. All of us, when brother sister, we gather. There's a get together. We all of us have huge respect for our father in the manner he supported our education, in the manner he was ambitious about us being graduate at least, and for that he's borrowed so much money, but he never let us feel any less. Okay. uh, but I was a very sensitive child, and I could see his struggle uh, from a distance. And every time I used to see him running away from the bank, or the bank jeep, uh, that broke my heart. That really broke my heart when I saw my father running and hiding in the field, asking us to tell the bank people that he's not at home. That didn't do good to my confidence, or my self respect, or self pride. So this is where we come from. But also, we also knew that he'd taken money not to buy anything luxurious, but he's taken money to support us.
So in fact, going back to that strand of heroism we began from, that he wanted you to be a doctor, he himself wanted to be a doctor. And for you then to have chosen such a difficult and such an uncharted path was truly an act of heroism, Manoj. And I'd really like to emphasize that, for our audience. I asked you one question, then I just quickly want you to speak of some of the people who professionally impacted you. That you said your father's the ease with which he let you go, the not uh, creating a framework of expectation around you, even though the family may have needed it so much. Are you able to create that same kind of freedom as a family man for your?
Oh yes, I think I've taken, I've taken all the good things from my parents, and especially of my father. He's been a he's been a true feminist that way. who who could who could actually withstand my mother's bad temper and aggression and complete dominance on the family. So yeah, when you see all of that from the first man in the family, that's how you become, because that becomes your reference point. When it comes to your marriage or your relationship in the family with your wife, that becomes your reference. I think uh, three of us brothers are the same. We are completely dominated by our female counterpart.
That
And
happens.
completely. So, and that comes naturally to us. This not because we know this is right, because it's natural. This is the way. This is the way it has been uh, in our family, and this is what we have seen from our childhood. As a husband, I'm we are. She's my best friend. I mean, more than anything, I don't even call my. I mean, I find it very uncomfortable to call myself a husband, and and tell people that I'll meet my wife. I find it very uncomfortable
Yeah.
to say this. She's my best friend, and um, sometimes we can go on talking for hours, and I can go on listening to her. But with my daughter, I think she's a born feminist. We didn't have to make her that. uh, I'll give you an example. When we were in LA vacationing, there was a board which was on the road where some people were walking. They were altering the road, and they were, you know, redoing it. And there was a board which said "Men at Work." And she was 6 years old that time, and she said, "Why not women at work? Why only men at work?" I told myself, "Here you go." I have one more in my family.
The tradition continues. Just
Yeah,
to,
so we just let her be. We are not ambitious about her, about our daughter at all. We just want her to uh, to learn the values, and there are certain values that we don't compromise on, as human beings, as a family, that she has to learn, and we are very, very strict about it. Other than that, she can go ahead and do nothing in her life. We'll be fine with it. Success and failure don't make people, you know, uh, anything bad or good. We just want her to know that being unsuccessful is not bad.
absolutely. Yeah. If your first sort of very important learning, if there are actors watching you, aspiring actors watching this conversation, what do you think is the fundamental and most difficult lesson to understand about acting?
Oh, yes. If I, uh, some people may disagree with me, but there are two things actually. A, learn to be with people. You know, uh, we tend to, close doors. Most of the actors, even when they are in their initial stage, they tend to close the doors. My thing is, open the doors, even if they are closed. Open the window, open the doors, go mingle up with people, stand in the crowd. Don't be scared of the crowd, because the characters will be coming from them. Actually, it's also saying that don't say no to experience. Second thing, I always maintain this: language. Keep working on your language. It's very important. Everything that we do today, I personally do. Sometime it may look that the language is not right, but I make that language into an incorrect language for that character. Okay, so you should know it. You should know it so well that you can unlearn it. or you can twist it, turn it.
Well, it's just another detail about you for the audience that apparently in your class 11, 12, you were into street wars and gang fights and you were quite wild. but, but you apparently perfected your Urdu, Hindi, English,
Yeah, yeah.
Bhojpuri, so your learning process, even whether you're going through a spiritual path or a gang war path.
Yeah, but for 2 3 years I completely diverted because I was out of the hostel, and for 11th and 12th I had to go to a different institute, to a different college, uh, and that it was all completely disorganized, coming from a boarding school, Catholic boarding school, to a complete sense of freedom, and suddenly, and you are not getting a chance to move out and go to Delhi and do theater. So I was completely out of focus, um, and that was the time the aggression and anger, uh, it started going in every direction, uh, and just in time I kind of stopped myself and ran away from there after 12th. I just took the train with my friend and came to Delhi. um, I think were the dark phases of my life, but the language is something that I've always been fascinated by. Whenever I heard or read Mr. Bachchan talking, uh, I always, kind of wished I could speak like him. Whenever Mr. Nasruddin Shah spoke in Hindi, in Urdu or English, I wish I could be like them. I could have that kind of a upbringing or education. But I so so there were people who were inspiring me from a distance. When I used to see Barry speaking, or his pauses, his silence, that used to inspire me to inculcate all of those things. So yes, people who are there, out there, to inspire you and learn from them.
So finally, today, when you are, of course, like we said, success is a journey. You're still pursuing your art, but from all external circumstances, you have arrived. You are a big name. You're well off. I heard that your wife calls you a dangling man. That you're caught between the city and your desire to go back to the village. Why do you want to go back to the village? To what draws you there, and why are you a dangling man?
A dangling man, she calls me. Yeah, she always says that you will not be able to, no matter how much you are going to dream to go back, you will never be able to go back. And
Why
she's so
do you
right.
want to go back?
I don't know. The boy is still there. That little boy who left his village, uh, somewhere didn't, spend enough time in the place where he was born. But I know just recently I was there. I took my daughter for the first time. uh, I saw an old man, my father, lying on the cot, uh, and he's too old. I saw my mother with the same kind of anger, same kind of temper at this age, and taking on life and sickness. When she got infected with corona, somebody asked her, "You should take rest. कोरोना हुआ है." And she said, कोरोना को हम हो जाएंगे. That's my mother.
That's priceless. So, there was this big thing about being the outsider in the industry. Nobody could, I mean, there are many, but you are also that quintessential outsider. Do you
Yeah.
think that all this criticism about the industry is fair?
There is a truth to it. There has always been truth to it. Everybody could see it. And that's why, there were people supporting this theory. Uh, I always said that we as an industry have to focus on the talent instead of getting into this debate of insider outsider. There can be a very talented insider too, people who call insider. But now, because of this intense and aggressive debates for a year, things have really improved. People are looking at talents. People are focusing on talent. No, people are the same people who believed in insider and outsider. They are very careful about it. So, this is what a very intense debate does. It makes you question your own self. And I'm glad that all of us got a chance to look within and correct ourselves. The system always needed to be corrected, and I'm happy that it is correcting itself.
So if you were to describe Manoj Bajpayee as a character, the essence of that character, what would you leave us with? In your
Confused.
eyes? Think of yourself as a character.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, always trying to find an answer, always trying to correct oneself. I'm always on a journey of correction. It's or you say evolution as a human being, always evolving, always evolving. That's something I'm very much interested in.
Thank you so much, Manoj. Really good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Shoma. Bye.